by Daniel BrownThe Mercury NewsWed, October 31, 2018 San Francisco. Willie McCovey, the Giants' first baseman who terrorized pitchers with his majestic home runs and charmed fans with his easy grace, died Wednesday. He was 80, one of the most beloved Giants of all time. McCovey slugged 521 home runs over the course of a career that spanned 4 decades. He will be best remembered as Willie Mays' tag team partner in San Francisco's formidable lineups of the 1960s. Although Willie McCovey played hurt throughout much of his 22-year career, the Giants' first baseman used a sweeping swing to belt 521 homers and collect more than 2,200 hits. He led the National League in homers 3 times and in RBIs twice, also pacing the circuit in slugging percentage for 3 consecutive years, 1968-70. McCovey earned National League MVP honors in 1969, 10 years after earning the National League Rookie of the Year award in 1959. San Francisco and the entire baseball community lost a true gentleman and legend, and our collective hearts are broken, Giants president and CEO Larry Baer said Wednesday. Willie was a beloved figure throughout his playing days and in retirement. He will be deeply missed by the many people he touched. For more than 6 decades, he gave his heart and soul to the Giants, as one of the greatest players of all time, as a quiet leader in the clubhouse, as a mentor to the Giants who followed in his footsteps, as an inspiration to our junior Giants, and as a fan cheering on the team from his booth while Mays brought the theatrics. McCovey was the reliable straight man and the most feared left-handed hitter of his era. Listed at 6'4" and wiry strong at 198 pounds, McCovey uncoiled a sweeping swing that blasted balls into orbit. Read more. Rules could change, stars could move as baseball heads into off-season. Blue Jays take a pass on Yangervis Solarte option. Red Sox fans line Boston streets for World Series. Paradis famously long home runs inspired the water beyond the right field fence. There's no comparison between McCovey and anybody else in the league. Hall of Famer Willie McCovey led the National League in home runs and RBIs in 1968 and 69, and also led the league in ops 3 times. The Associated Press file photo. He was the National League Rookie of the Year in 1959, the league's MVP in 1969, and the Comeback Player of the Year in 1977 when he kicked off a late career renaissance by returning to the Giants after a 3-year absence. In all, McCovey was a 6-time All-Star whose career home run total ties him with Ted Williams for 18th on the all-time list. Before Barry Bonds passed him, McCovey had more home runs than any other left-handed hitter in NL history. McCovey's total includes 18 Grand Slams, a figure topped by only 3 players. He was inducted into Cooperstown on his first ballot. In 1986, he used to scare me the most when I was playing first base, Joe Torre once said. I was just praying he wouldn't hit one down the line. He was so strong, one of the most awesome players I've ever seen. McCovey was the only player to hit a baseball over the upper deck beyond the right field fence at Crosley Field in Cincinnati. And long before there was a McCovey Cove, he hit balls into the community pool beyond the outfield fences in Jerry Park in Montreal. McCovey's power was so prodigious that New York Mets manager Casey Stengel, in a pre-game planning meeting for dealing with him, joked to his pitcher, "Where would you like me to position the right fielder, in the upper deck or the lower deck?" One of McCovey's most famous swings, however, resulted in a ball that never left the infield. With the potential winning runs on base, McCovey hit a searing liner that New York Yankees second baseman Bobby Richardson snagged for the final out of Game 7 of the 1962 World Series. It haunted McCovey, and San Francisco fans, for years. No less an authority than Charlie Brown once screamed into the sky, "Why couldn't McCovey have hit the ball just 3 feet higher?" Primarily a first baseman, McCovey had the wingspan of a condor, and when he reached in any direction in search of a throw, he became known as Stretch. The native of Mobile, Alabama, burst into the league on July 20, 1959 when he enjoyed a 4-for-4 debut against Phillies ace Robin Roberts, also a future Hall of Famer. McCovey had spent the previous night packing into the wee hours after getting the late call up to the big leagues. "I requested uniform no. 44 because I've always admired Hank Aaron, McCovey recalled in his Hall of Fame induction speech. I was getting dressed when manager Bill Rigney came to me and said, "How do you feel?" I said, "Fine," not wanting to tell him I had been up all night. He said, "Good, because you're in there and you're hitting third. You know whose spot that is? I'm moving Mays up to second today, so you know what we're expecting of you." McCovey responded with 2 triples, 2 singles, 3 runs and 2 RBIs to lead a 7-2 victory. He would play just 52 games that 59 season, but his immediate onslaught, .354 average, 13 home runs, 38 RBIs, was enough to capture Rookie of the Year honors. Despite those splashy early days, McCovey bounced around for the next few seasons as the Giants struggled to make room for both him and another young star, Orlando Cepeda. The two were shuttled back and forth between first base and left field until the team cleared the logjam by trading Cepeda to the St. Louis Cardinals in 1966. McCovey led the NL in home runs 3 times, including in 1968 and 1969 when he became just the 5th player in baseball history to capture back-to-back home run and RBI titles. He helped endear himself to Giants fans by tormenting Don Drysdale, a star pitcher for the rival Los Angeles Dodgers, with 12 career home runs. "He beat on me like a tom-tom," Drysdale once said. Because McCovey established his star while in San Francisco, his popularity often surpassed that of Mays, who was viewed as a New York import in his early days. Either way, the duo was a nightmare for opposing pitchers. Mays and McCovey homered in the same game 68 times, a feat topped among teammates only by Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews, 75 times, and Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth, 73. Nick Peters, the Hall of Fame baseball writer who chronicled McCovey's career, once marveled that the first baseman did it all despite arthritic knees, a troublesome hip, aching feet and assorted other ailments. He did it in the Candlestick Park cold, and despite more intentional walks of any player of his era, McCovey overcame those hurdles to last 22 seasons in the big leagues. Though an icon with the Giants, he played briefly for the San Diego Padres 1973-76, and the A's 9 games at the end of the 76 season, before enjoying a prolonged swan song in San Francisco. He hit 28 home runs in 1977, when he was 39 years old, and followed with 2 more seasons. He hit the end of the road in 1980, when he retired at mid-season. He played his last game on July 10 in Los Angeles and delivered a sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning to give the Giants a 4-3 lead. Capacity crowd at Dodger Stadium, no less, gave him a long-standing ovation. "I've never seen an opposing player get an ovation like that here," Giants coach Jim Lefebvre, a former Dodger, told Peters. Baseball is going to miss him. Born to Frank and Esther McCovey on January 10, 1938 in Mobile, Alabama, Willie Lee McCovey was raised with 7 brothers. It was the city's playground director, Jesse Thomas, who arranged for Willie to get a tryout in front of Giants scouts Alex Pompey and Jack Schwartz, who promptly signed him to a contract. One of McCovey's first minor league managers, Salty Parker, encouraged the kid to stay true to the quiet, dignified nature that would make him a fan favorite. He said, "You're tall, and because you're tall you'll always be respected and you'll always stand out in the crowd," McCovey recalled during his Cooperstown induction speech. He said, "You are not a very outgoing person and you have an easygoing manner, and people may interpret that as though you're not caring, but whatever people say, stay the way you are. Don't ever change or let somebody try to make you something you're not." McCovey proved so revered that the Giants established the Willie Mack Award in 1980 to honor the player who best exemplifies the spirit and leadership consistently shown by McCovey throughout his career. Late in his life, McCovey was a fixture at it. His official role was as a senior advisor, whose duties included offering his expertise to Giants players and making speaking appearances. The Giants announced on Sept. 19 that McCovey had been hospitalized from complications stemming from an infection. "I am grateful that my father passed peacefully surrounded by his family and friends while listening to his favorite sports channel," said McCovey's daughter Allison McCovey. "Every moment he will be terribly missed. He was my best friend and husband. Living life without him will never be the same," said McCovey's wife Estella McCovey. McCovey is also survived by his sister Frances and brothers Clauzel and Cleon. The Giants said a public celebration of McCovey's life will be announced at a later date. However, fans who wish to offer their condolences may send letters to the McCovey family, care of San Francisco Giants. Attention Forever 4424 Willie Mays Plaza, San Francisco, California, 94107. Or they may email their thoughts to forever44@sfgiants.com. Report and air journalistic standards about a sports action and reaction delivered to your inbox. New NEWSLETTERSPORTSSIGN up.